Hello, it's Lara Joe. Back on some bullshit because it's been a very enlightening day. So, I had to do some resting. I had to do some laboring. You know, these boys want to keep competing where they don't compare, yet they can't actually do what I do. So, yeah, it's been fun. I've had a lot of information drop in. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of spiciness added. So I am Lara Joe, SirenSong Lover. Should you wish to book a service, that can be done through SirenSongLover.in, and I'll put that in the comments. Should you wish to sew into my ministry, because that's how we reciprocate energy, and we're going to talk about that too. That can be done through Cash App, SirenSong Lover. It's Siren, capital S. Song, capital S, Lover, capital L. It's right here on the screen, should you wish to read it. So we're going to talk about so much today. I really do have a lot to talk about. So, it's been interesting. I've had a lot of information, like I say, drop in, and a lot of information as to why people got really pissed off when I did certain things, and I give zero fucks about it because they are not doing the right thing. And while it seems that I'm doing the wrong thing, I was brave enough to say, whatever you're doing, we've tried that all for so long and it didn't work. So yeah. And then we're going to talk about why pain is important. I know there's no one else in besides me and wherever my lurker is, and that's fine. But you can't cheat a spiritual person. You can't take off of our gifts and then think you're going to get somewhere without properly paying for that. And that's also why if you're not paying for readings or you're not paying for energy reciprocity, it doesn't work for you because you didn't feed the ancestors, you didn't feed the source that gave you that information. So if you truly want valid information, if you truly want valid everything, you have to reciprocate energy. I can't eat, that means I can't bring. I am on fire, cottage country. There is so much to talk about. There's a lot that's come up. It's been a very active week spiritually. It's been a very active week energy-wise. I've had to cling to the rails at some points because it's been like a centrifuge and it's tried to spin me out, and some of that was necessary. How are you doing today? How's the weather for you? For me, it's kind of gray and drizzly, except for I kind of enjoy that right now because I need to be inside. What would be even better is if I had the financial resources to have food, because I am super fucking hungry, and food sounds amazing right now. Like a good meal. I haven't had like a good meal other than snack bullshit for a long time. So, I'm good. I'm hyped up. I've had, like I say, a lot of information happen this week. I've had a lot of things happen this week. A lot of interactions with powerful key players. So, while it's been exhausting, draining, like I say, I haven't always thought I was going to make it this week, but it's also been transformative, enlightening. Yeah. So every day for the last 2 weeks, because I've been having dreams, like, people want to be me until they realize what my life entails. Well, due to spiritual gifts, I'm on call 24/7. So not only am I moving and doing a lot of shit during the day, I'm also moving and doing a lot of shit at night. I fight a lot of spiritual battles in the astral realm that no one understands. And my life isn't just slinging tarot cards. It literally is like I have to give messages all the time, constantly, to people, and when they don't want it. So, hopefully that answers some stuff. How goes it in your neck of the woods? I had to deliver messages. Well, I had to deliver a lot of messages this week to people that didn't want to hear them. And I'm like, I don't care that you want to hear them. You need to hear them. So a lot of boys have been told a lot of info this week that they didn't think that they would have to hear. Don't care. So yeah. Yeah. You're gonna see me. So what I realize when life gets really hectic, I live off of nicotine and caffeine and very little food, which definitely isn't nourishing for the body, but apparently that's my rock steady diet until I can afford to better feed myself and better take care of myself. Anyway. Okay. Body low. What are you over there? All right. Okay. So, what a lot of people aren't realizing, like, they come to me, they don't believe in what I have to say or what I see or what I tell them, and then they try to play in my face, or they take my information, they take my energy, and again, they don't realize that it won't go anywhere for them because they didn't, like, reciprocate energy appropriately. So I have a family situation that happened this week, multiple family situations, but I had a family where they dogged me. They wanted to deny that I was right, although I knew I was right, and they told me plenty of times I'd been right. And then when I started saying things that they didn't like that were also right, then they iced me out, they gave me the silent treatment, they demonized me, and they took and ran off. And it was upsetting because I gave a lot of time, energy, money, resources. They never paid me, compensated me for it. And the problem is I was right, but they didn't want to pay me. And they're also going to realize that that was a grave mistake. Literally. So, don't short practitioners because you don't have the money, or don't short practitioners ask us to work for free because, again, the way that we are able to bring our gifts to the world is we have to pay our rent to our ancestors and our guides and everything like that. So I have a lot of people that don't believe in my gift, but they like the answers that they get, but they don't believe in my gift, so then they try to starve me. I'm like, you're not starving me, you're starving my ancestors. And my ancestors, because no one was willing to talk to them, are very hungry. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. There are a lot of people that owe me a lot of money, and they're not getting out of their karma until they correctly pay. So, yeah. It's been a fun week. It's been a really fun week. I've had a lot of information, like I say, drop in. I've had a lot of little aha moments. There's been a lot of division in the country, in the world right now, due to politics, which I don't like talking about politics, yet it's definitely helping our world, I guess, wake up. Actually, so one of my friendships from being a teenager her and I stopped being friends because of her political stance, which it upset me. But she's like, this was years ago, we had a rift, and she was like, oh, I love Trump because he divides and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? That's right. He does divide. But he also shows us who the people we thought we loved. It shows us who they really are. And I think a lot of women this week especially woke up to, what the fuck? Like, my husband supports Trump and Trump does this, and what does my husband do? Because birds of a feather flock together. When you start looking at, like, Trump and all of his gregarious acts, you start saying, you know what? My significant other is capable of this too. So I love that the politics have shown us who people really are and whether we stand with their values with humans or not. And while you can say, oh, well, my husband's not like that, well, he is if he's buying into those policies. So there's been the hashtag going around like, your body, my choice. It's not. You do not have control over another person's body, especially if you can't lead, protect, or provide. So, yeah. The other part of it, I'm just gonna some little kernels that I've noticed along the way. How many people are into Freemasonry, but they don't actually know what it entails or what they have to do, or they do know and they do it anyway. And these are the men that are saying, oh, God and family, but then they have to do sacrifices and commit violations of the 10 Commandments. That's not godly like, and that's false. Another little ick factor that really kind of made so many things solidify was because let me say where this comes from. My ex's family they're devout Jehovah's Witnesses, and his father was an elder, and family and God and all of that. Well, if you look at the founder of Jehovah's Witness, he was a 33-degree Mason, as designated by the markings on his grave. So we all as a society need to start looking at the cults that are running our world, how they are implanted within every aspect of society, and how they are colonizing women and children and not being of God like they say. The hypocrisy is astounding, and people need to start listening and realizing. Also, this is where a lot of people are getting real fucked up. And black magic doesn't work, or magic conjuring doesn't work, and I'll tell you why. The spirits have lived their roles, and to conjure them disturbs their peace. And do you enjoy having your peace disturbed, or do you want to be left resting? So people that use hex hands, they like to conjure, they like to play in magic, they like to petition deities, are getting in a lot of trouble because those deities want to rest in peace. They don't want to come and do whatever magic you want to do. And I've touched on this also before, is there's a hierarchy and there are rankings. So while you may feel that you can conjure a demon, you don't know the ranking of the person that you're conjuring upon and what anointing they have on their life. I'm going to touch on this. There's a lot of division even in the Masons right now. And there was this guy on TikTok, and he said haphazardly, and it pissed me off for so many reasons. But it's a lot of people not speaking on things that they don't know. And this dude had said, like, oh, anyone can get ordained. It's only $40. You're correct. Except when you become ordained, and this is speaking from personal experience. I've been ordained. And yeah, you're right, it's only $40. And at the time I got ordained to be able to officiate a wedding, ironically for a Freemason, which at the time I didn't know anything about Freemasons. I didn't know anything about this dude. It was a favor for a friend. And then after that, because that dude had designated me as a high priestess, my life fell the fuck apart because the Freemasons decided they wanted to fuck with me. So here's where it goes. He wanted to say, well, anyone can get ordained. It's only $40. Okay. Being ordained actually does carry, I know it seems like, oh, it's just paper, but I've learned through experience, getting ordained actually does mean that you have an anointing on your life. And while it is only $40 and it's super easy to do, no one does it because they feel that they don't need it, it doesn't apply to them, it's a waste of money, XYZ. And one of the final arguments I had with one of my recent ex-boyfriends was, hey, I would suggest you get ordained. It does carry a protection and an anointing from God. No one wants to listen to that advice, except for I am living proof of the anointing you carry, the protection you carry from taking that role and putting in that price. And yeah, it seems like, oh, it's just tiny, $40 on a piece of paper, except for you really do become an ambassador for the Most High. And you do change your ranking. It's exhausting. Like, people want to be me. They want to say that what I do is easy, except for they don't realize I'm on call 24/7. And I do work for the Most High. And I do shit that is hard. And I'm also highly protected. So the dude being like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Or people think that they're blah, blah, blah. No, it does carry weight. And he's speaking from, like, jealousy of people getting somewhere because they actually do have ordained behind them. So, trying to think of what else I want to add to that. I love it's the people that don't know what they're talking about that are out here saying, oh, it's so easy or it's not that big a deal. Well, if it isn't that big a deal and it's so easy, why aren't you doing it? Because clearly you're speaking from a place of jealousy and not having actually taken that plunge. That's the other, I get a lot of, oh, you think you're better than people. Yeah, because I put in the work. Like, I don't have patience for people. And yes, I use nicotine. Except for I have also given up alcohol addiction. And when I speak about that, like, now mind you, my family used alcohol as part of a control factor to be able to drug me, to sexually abuse me. So that's A. Since I was a very little child, my family has been poisoning me and drugging me with alcohol. That being said, I drank from the age of 14 till the age of 41. 14 to 41. 14 to 40. 13 to 4. It was like 27, 28 years. And I gave it up. So people that say, oh, you're not better than me because you don't drink. Yeah, no, I've given up that addiction. And when people say, oh, I had a bad childhood. No, I worked daily through the abuse that I went through to be able to live a better life. So the excuses of, oh, it's too hard or I can't do it, it's fucking bullshit. So don't sit over there and say, like, I'm not shit because I didn't do it. No, I did it. And if you want to say it's so easy, then you do it too. Okay. I know, spicy. Spicy. And I don't give two flying fucks. The other part. I did learn ways to counter people's bullshit. But that being said, don't disturb the peace of... Hi, Ireneo. Oh my gosh, I love that you're in. There's so much to fucking talk about, girl. If you have the time, so much has come up to be hashed. So much has come up to be hashed. Oh, and unfortunately, like, that money you sent, like, it has been utilized, and I'm definitely in need of... creating more financial flow. That being said, I would love to show how your contribution, I'm going to show how your contribution the other day helped, and I'm going to explain how it was a spiritual lesson and how gorgeous it was. Due to your contribution the other day, I got to go to the crossroads. I got to do a spiritual field trip. And on that spiritual field trip, I'll introduce you to the friend I met. He was beautiful. He was handsome. It was a gorgeous, like, reminder of the ancestors. So because you helped feed me, I got to feed the ancestors. So this guy, look at that handsome face. He met me at the crossroads. So because you helped feed me, I got to help feed the ancestors and release some trauma and release some karmic energy. And I love that for us. But how handsome is this guy? Anubis and Hecate came out and showed out. Because, like I say, I had to go to the crossroads. We had that big day the other day. And then the next day I had to go to the crossroads. I was instructed to release some things back to the ancestors. So here's what I've been learning. And I would love, if you want me to read a text my family has sent to me, and then I can explain that too. It's very brutal, but I would love to read it, and I'd love to explain why they got so pissed off, and I would love to explain why this is working. So please let me know if you want to go down that little rabbit hole. It's pretty ugly, but then it ties into the crossroads. So, because a lot of people have been sending me necromantic warfare. And, yeah. Yes, so your contribution helped me feed the ancestors. And I'm going to give a very valuable lesson here, okay? A few of them. But let me, okay, so I have had family that have done spellcasting, witchcraft, necromancy on me, right? We've talked about that. So, and it's also how sometimes you have to let go of the little things to get bigger things. So let me show you some things, because for years I'd been saying how I wanted my man to bring me a geode, because I wanted to crack a geode. So this dude back in May, and there's a fucked up situation, but him and his family refused to pay me. This dude back in May kind of fulfilled that, but it was like crumbs. And he intentionally did that. They intentionally did that to me. But let me show you. This was the dude also that I realized, like, he wanted to be Cinderella and he wanted me to be Prince Charming. And I'm like, bro. But then he wanted to... It was gross. It was fucking gross. Anyway, so I'll show you the tiny little breadcrumb he gave me. Okay. Let me know when you come back and I'll show you the tiny breadcrumbs. And that gives me a minute to choose some food. I am. That's why I'm chewing right now. Eat my junk food. Filling up on caffeine and nicotine, because that's my diet. Junk food, caffeine, nicotine, until I can afford real food. Like, God, I want a steak dinner so bad. I need a massage. I need to get some self-care taken care of. And I can pull that up while I'm waiting for you.
freaking out. Everybody.
Okay, cool. You ready? So I had to take somebody back to the crossroads today. I showed you my guardians that popped up. I'll show you what happened. Because like I say, this dude wanted to play in my fucking face, but he was breadcrumbing me. His family was breadcrumbing me. So I had been asking for years for a geode. And there's situations around this geode, and I can talk about that, but so this was said geode. He had one half and I had one half, and I wanted to, well, okay, so first off, I'm very big about honoring your ancestors, feeding your ancestors, paying them attention. And this was a family who I had told, and they have a brand new baby coming in, but his mama wanted to throw magic and conjuring and hex work on me. They are also very attached to the Freemasons. So this is where I've had to start educating the people that are conjuring, the people that are fucking around and finding out. I have to educate them in the worst ways. So the people in my life who have done necromantic warfare on me, I return their objects to the graveyards. Yeah. So I return their objects to the graveyards. Because I'm like, if you're going to treat me like trash, if you're going to do shit on me, I am going to return you to your ancestors. They will get paid. You shouldn't have conjured onto me. They will get paid and they will get honored. So this was the geode I'd been asking for years. And like I say, there's a fucked up situation around this. This family did not pay me. They took my work. They took my money. They told me how I was right until I started seeing things that they didn't want to hear. Like, hey, you have to come correct. Then they got shut up. Then they said that I was wrong and I was an asshole. And they took my resources, my time, my energy. They wanted me to work for free. They didn't want to pay me. And then they intentionally dogged me. So I had to return the other half of that geode. And this was a dude, actually, so I had talked about this dude, how when I left, I had seen him on Tuesday, and he was on the floor in the fetal position crying because he didn't like what I had to say. So I had to return his half to him. So that's why I went to the crossroads. So here's where that becomes relevant, though. And then we're going to talk about that. So he didn't want to honor his ancestors. He didn't want to feed his ancestors. His mom's doing spell work, so I had to send it. I took this back to his grandfather's grave. I took my half of the geode back to his grandfather's grave to pay homage and to bring peace and rest. Ironically. And here's the thing. I wanted that geode for years. I'd been asking for that geode for years. And I finally got it, but I got it with crumbs. And there was another thing that I had this beautiful artwork from a spiritualist, and I was instructed, like, hey, this shit is cursed. You need to get the fuck up off you. So that artwork I took care of as well. So ironically, one of the things that I was right about that they said I was wrong about, I got confirmation that I was right the fuck on yesterday. After releasing this on Thursday, I had a huge fight with my ex-husband on Thursday. After releasing this on Thursday, I got confirmation last night that one of my predictions, which happens a lot, like, I'm right on about shit. People just deny it, so, and then dog me so that they don't have to prove those, right, or pay me. So, one of the things about this family, I got confirmation I was right on about. So, I'm like, okay, I see that your grandfather acknowledged my gift back, because I was like, if they won't honor their ancestors and feed them, I will. Because they wanted to disturb their ancestors' peace to fuck with me, but I didn't come for that. I came to help heal. And since they didn't pay me, I'm still going to do my job. I'm going to pay it back. I'm going to return. So here's what I've been learning about, like, conjuring and necromancy and all of that. It's, you counter it by returning and honoring the ancestors that they tried to send you. You release that debt, if that makes sense. So I went, like I say, and I released that. The drawings that I had, I released that. And I do put them in the graveyard because it's like, I realize that those ancestors are going to handle it better than I do. I know that that's hella dark and that's hella scary, except for I'm not afraid to walk in graveyards. So, this all ties into how this all kind of started. And I know I was talking about how they've been sending me death spells for a hot minute. And I realized I was on the right path because I started having different protection. This is an incident that happened with my family, and this was right before I got this nasty vitriol. I had noticed that my family really was trying to send me car accidents. They were trying to send me demons to off me. They were sending hitmen. They were sending everything and anything to try and make me stop. And they've been doing that nonstop for years, daily. They've been trying to send me shit. But I had the ashes for my former mother-in-law, my former mother-in-law's mom, and my father for years. No one wanted them. No one asked for them. No one had taken care of them. I was the one that was carrying them around. Okay. That happens. If you want me to pause, I can pause. If you want me to keep going, I can keep going. I also move really fast, so shit does freeze up around me, if that makes sense. That's one of the challenges of moving to the South is I speak too fast and move too fast for everyone. Except I've done that my whole life. That's also why I smoked. Nope, I'm going to talk about it right here. This is where it gets real fucking weird, dicey, and then after the Crossroads thing today, it all hit home real hard. So we're going to hop in that. Ready? Because I kicked a hornet's nest, but nobody had asked for those ashes. What happened, I was having disturbances in my house, and I was guided to release them. Because bodies want to be free. So don't hold on to ashes because they're meant to be released. So this was from my son. Now, mind you, with my son, I was a single mom. I put myself through x-ray school. I raised him by myself for 7 years without help from anyone else other than my family living with them. But all the financial, everything was on me. So my son sent me this. He said, "Did you throw Grandpa's and Kevin's ashes in a river?" So this was my response. Now, mind you, like I say, before this response from him, I had been getting warfare on me. To add a side note, when my father passed away, my mother sent him as a demon to attack me and monitor me. And my father was on me for 4 years as a monitoring spirit and demon sent by my mother. So when I released his ashes, I released that debt. So, you ready? Give me like a thumbs up or something so I can start with that. Okay, so, like I say, right before this message came, my mom got real weird. My family all got real fucking weird. They sent me to this. They sent this to me, but they were trying to send me over the edge. So it says, and I love that the birds are fighting at this moment for confirmation. So my son had said, "Did you throw Grandpa's and Kevin's ashes in a river?" I said, "Both of these souls paid their karmic debt in this lifetime. I assisted in sending their bodies back to the universe. This is a true statement. You helped in honoring my brother's life by helping release him a certain date." Because my family helped release my brother in 2010. I said, "I released Grandpa in January of 2022, along with my former mother-in-law and her mom. I held a space and a ceremony for the 3 souls I released here in Georgia. I said, I honor the joy and sacrifices that they made. Our bodies are meant to go back to the universe. If you hold on to things, they become restless. You can't cage people even after they've passed. Keeping their bodies on display in our house wasn't honoring them. Be mad at me if you wish. I was releasing souls so they could be returned to nature. It's only fair. No one should be caged, especially after they have given the ultimate sacrifice, their life. And then if you're ready, I'll give you his response. Okay, I said, this is the other part of that little response. I said, death, pain, heartache all need to be released back to the universe to be transmuted. I know that there is beauty in losing my brother, as every time I hear the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Iz, I know that's a message from him, and every time I see a rainbow, that is also him. While they may not be with us physically in this realm, they are creating magic and way bigger miracles on the other side. So my son's response to all of this, because it was nasty. But now I realize that they wanted those ashes so that they could use them in warfare against me. And by releasing those souls contracts have been released. So he said, you are a fucking vermin, you are a destructive parasite, you are the narcissist. You have burned every fucking bridge you can, you have fucking lied to me about every single thing since you moved to Georgia, if not before. It was absolutely not your decision to discard those ashes. It was. No one else was holding on to them. I was the keeper of those ashes, and I was instructed by the universe to release them. He said, what you did to all these people was absolutely the worst, which the irony is what I did to those people was nothing. It was actually those people turned around and worked together to try to destroy one person, which if you have to come together in a group to destroy one person, you're not powerful. You're a coward piece of shit. So, so he said to me, you are no longer allowed in my life. You will not see your grandchildren. You have lost your privilege. He said he would testify on my ex-husband's behalf to make sure that I would never get the kids and that I would be forever in pain. I will assure, if the time arises, you will feel the same pain you have inflicted upon me and everyone else. After this point, I will be blocking you. If you attempt to come into my life, I will put a restraining order on you. These are the consequences of your actions. Goodbye, Lara. Although, like I say now, years later, realizing that they wanted those ashes so they could do graveyard shit on me. And by releasing them, because spirits, once they've paid their debt, yeah, he didn't stop to clarify. He just went on a witch hunt. I didn't just, like, I released those ashes in a ceremony. I sat with those people who had lived very hard karmic lives, and I honored their sacrifices and their struggles. No, those ashes were given to me because no one else wanted them or was going to do anything with them. And then when I released them to the universe, that was a problem. But now I realize, like I say, they wanted those ashes because they wanted to use them against me. Energetically, magically, which is where they got fucked up. So part of my lessons have all been learning about release. And release. That's what it really is. Like I say, the people that want to do necromancy don't realize those spirits don't want to be disturbed. So when they send them to someone that did not deserve it, then they're like, what the fuck? So, yeah. I let them go in nature. I return them to the earth because that's what my father would have wanted. My father was caged in life. Actually, all of those people that I released were caged in life. And that was the most humane thing that could have been done with their ashes. My father was caged by his family, caged by his body, caged by his circumstances. My mother-in-law and her mom, because they were women of color, were caged and indentured their whole life too. So that was my act of kindness. And those ancestors that I've released do work for me. And that's not said as like cap or being cocky. That's like, I didn't want to hold them in prison forever. So. Yep. So, and I live on plantation land, an indigenous land, and it's haunted as fuck, and I live in a ghost town. So constantly I'm releasing those indentured souls. I carry a different path. That's why the demon realm and the spiritual realm, my name holds weight, and I have mad respect because I don't trap them. I say, hey man, you are free. So it's hard as hell. Because people say, oh, you're not doing the right thing. Well, man, we tried doing what you've been doing this whole fucking time and it wasn't working. So now I'm going to do things that are in love. So I know it seems really, people get like, oh, you put someone in the graveyard. Yes, I fucking did. Because they originally tried to put me in the graveyard, and those spirits that they disrupted are not happy. So here's what I'll tell you. When people are trying to bind you or do shit on you, put them in the graveyard. Throw them on the side of the road. I don't fucking care. Like, you know what? I've taken and things that people have given me that I know is cursed or that they've tried to bind me, I literally, while I'm driving down the road, I will throw it out the fucking window. Because I'm like, if you treated me like trash and threw me on the side of the road, guess what, bitch? Now the spirits are here for you. Yeah, I had to have that conversation. Oh my gosh. My tattoo artist is heavily karmic, and I've talked about how he's taken my product, my blood product, and he uses it in warfare and conjuring and magic and spell work. And I had to say to him today, I'll actually read this too, and which I'm happy because some of my shit has rubbed off on him. I said, conjuring and spell work does not work because, like I say, he likes to do spell work and conjuring. I said, conjuring and spell work doesn't work because it violates free will of that entity. They enjoy resting in peace and get upset when we summon them. Life falling to shit because I watched his life fall the fuck apart. I said it's because manipulation of magic energy it's because manipulation of magic and energy upsets their rest. Figured that out at the crossroad work I've been doing. So anything you'll see with me, because I'm like, I am very much an alchemizer, so I won't conjure it, but if it's in my environment, I will utilize it. So that's the difference, and that's why I get out of a lot of trouble, because I'm not calling things in to be like, go sick on them. I'm like, hey, whatever's sent to me. I talked the other day about like Papa Legba, and people hate when I talk about voodoo and hoodoo, like, you have no right, and they try to gatekeep, and I'm like, no man, that was what was sent to me, that was in my environment, I alchemized it, I transmuted it, I honored him. So the people that sent me all of these deities that had no fucking business being anywhere near me, they sent it to me, I took the lesson, I utilized it, and then I sent it back to whoever sent it to me, or I released it. I mean, normally it's like, okay, we're gonna correct the imbalances on this, because when they sent that demon to me, it was hungry and I wasn't the one that it was supposed to be going for. It goes back to collect. that's where some of these people are going to be getting in a lot of trouble too, is because they tried to sacrifice me, not realizing they were sacrificing themselves, their children, their grandchildren, everything that they love. So, and I was talking about that the other day about ranking and how that played out. Like, I given that example that morning about how you can't throw all these things because there's a pecking order. And, you know, some people do have the anointing of God. And then we saw an example of that play out to the person that I gave that lesson to that morning. I showed her an example of it. And I'm like, y'all were out here just playing, binding, doing magic. You didn't realize it actually does have consequences. This is why also you have to pay. This is what's painful and upsetting too. A lot of people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or they rip me off. They don't pay me. But they don't realize, like, I have to pay my ancestors and my guardians and myself. Like, people that don't pay me, they don't think what I'm doing is real, or they don't think that I deserve, or whatever. And I'm like, when you starve me, you're starving my ancestors. And my ancestors are going to shake you down like you owe them couch cushion money. So people that want to cheat me, but then their life falls apart. And I'm like, yeah, you were warned not to do that at all. And you thought you had bigger protection than that. And you were dead ass wrong. Yeah. Yep. You know, like, I have so many people, like I say, that, like, they take all my resources and then they run away thinking I don't see. And I'm like, that was one of the things I said to my tattoo artist. I go, all those people that should have paid me and played me, they're going to learn that was the worst fucking thing you could ever do. I've watched it happen with so many people where they ignore me or they rip me off, and then they turn around and their life, like, falls the fuck apart. And it was like, you were warned. And I know people think, like, warnings are a challenge, and I'm like, no, it's not, because it really is life or death. Like, I don't love going to the crossroads, yet it is what was called, and it was what was necessary. That's the other part. People want to just say, oh, it's just tarot cards. No, I am on a mission from the divine. And when I'm told to go to the graveyard by the divine, I have to follow that. And people, like I say, they want to be me until you actually have to do what I do. They want to go, like I say, digging up dirt, not realizing that they will be in that same dirt. So, again, I say, people that need to pay me. Because they tried to play me. They don't realize they're going to be ending up in boxes. Whether it be prison cells, mental prison cells, sent home in a pine box. And I don't love talking about any of that or saying any of that, but, like, the dude who gave me the geode, his family intentionally played in my fucking face. And I said, don't do that. And, like, prime example, one of the blessings that his family got was his sister is pregnant. I called that. I was right on it. I also said it was a girl. They tried to say, oh, no, it's a boy. They tried to play it. They didn't want to hear what I had to say. Well, you know what? After returning that geode, I found out it's a girl. So, yet again, on so much shit, right on the money, and I'm right. Instead, they just wanted to rip me off. What I also told that dude, I go, I love that Alcatraz helped rearrange that baby, because his mom couldn't keep, like, the grandma couldn't keep her hands clean. Someone has to pay the debt for what she did to me, and they did do necromancy on me. So someone has to pay that debt, and it wasn't me. So I warned him of that too. There's multiple other practitioners that I've warned, keep your hands off of me because it's your kid. Like, there's a practitioner that's pregnant right now, and I predicted it was a boy too, and I predicted it was gonna be, He's gonna be due pretty soon, but that baby is gonna be lame. And I know that that's harsh to say, but no, man, you played me when you should have paid me. Every fucking time. And especially because you're a practitioner. I mean, she's a hoodoo practitioner, so you know she's been doing this shit for a long ass time. She was indoctrinated into it, but I can energetically tell she's left me animal sacrifices while pregnant, and I'm like, that baby's gonna pay. And you should have known better. I was not the one to mess with, and you should have known that. There's been plenty of track record to exemplify why I'm not the one to fuck with. She sacrificed me, and instead it's her baby she sacrificed. I know that's harsh, and I don't love that. Yet, she couldn't keep her hands. Well, greed. She wanted my beautiful life. She wanted what I have. And I do have great things, but she wanted what I have, and she thought she was going to get a quick grab. And I'm like, you are the dumbest bitch ever. So, I love that because they don't know. They're uneducated. Like I say, they just see they're vengeful and they're greedy and they're petty and they're demonically possessed. You know how, okay, so there's a saying like, don't walk a mile in a dead man's shoes. These are people that wanted to be me. They wanted my light. Start talking to them. Offerings. So close a relationship with your ancestors. Start talking to them. Start leaving them offerings. I like to leave, and actually the other day when I did spiritual house cleaning and keeping, I don't drink, but I do have alcohol on that property for cleansing and spiritual purposes. So I offer 2 shots as part of my offering because they love alcohol is a favorite for them. But when I'm missing something in the house, I will leave an offering to the house fairies. I'll leave them an alcohol offering for whatever I'm missing, and then it shows up. I had that happen. Oh, that was funny. Actually, I had that happen with my ex. Like, we were looking for some TV controllers that had been missing for 6 months. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'll leave an offering to the house fairies. And he's an alcoholic, so he got really pissed off that I offered 2 shots to the house fairies and don't let him drink it. But within 5 minutes of trying it and offering them we found what we were looking for. 6 months, and it was in the place that we knew where it was, but the house spirits were pissed off because we had been ignoring them. That was definitely a thing for me. I'm like, okay, there is real fucking merit to it. I'd been wanting to try it for a hot minute, and then I did it, and goddamn, the results were instant. So, talking to your ancestors, offering them things like, which relative do you have that you want to connect with first or get a closer relationship with? I'll give you a tip. Feels like a grandma is honestly what it feels like a grandma, either a paternal grandma or maternal grandma, but Is your paternal grandma still alive? Your dad's mom? And actually, I can show you. Okay, offer her beer. I know that's not like offer her favorite beer. Did she like Mickey's? Or like 40s, like I'm feeling like like cheap beer, like loves cheap beer. Maybe not outwardly. I'll show you the offerings I made to my parents, because I offer to my parents too. Like when I'm feeling my parents call, I will get their meal, and then I'll get them each a drink, and I'll show you. I have to think how far back that was. Okay, I don't normally like to show pictures of other people, but I am going to show pictures of this. Remember how I said, like, he wanted to be Cinderella while I was Prince Charming? Like, he wanted to be a girl. Anyway. And actually, yeah, no. When was that? Yeah, no, but she wants to talk to you. When we break generational curses, we unlock their generational inheritances. And everything that your grandma went through, she wants to help you. She wants you to break it so that her life did not go in vain, in waste. I know that's maybe harsh, like hard to hear or whatever, but all those trials and tribulations that your grandma went through, don't let that be in waste, my friend. Honor her, talk to her. I know you weren't close with her, but she wants all of her hard life to be honored. Live a good life for her, okay? That's when I look at it and I go, I am living for my grandma, because my grandma went through it. Both my grandmas went through it, but my mom's mom really fucking went through it. I honor and I walk my path for her, and I also do it for my daughters, because as much as I've been treated like property, my daughters are even more marginalized due to the color of their skin. So, like, I don't fight my fight necessarily for me. I fight it so my daughter can know what it's like to not be enslaved and indentured and treated like property by men. So, to be, like, just open for a minute, or to be, like, raw. Like, I don't really love talking about my children, but I do fight my fight so that my kids can be free. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be a consistent effort, my friend. It just has to be one time. Like, sit and have a drink with her one night. Like, when you're making food, like, intentionally put out, like, a little bit for her. And like I say, like, I will, when I go to the gas station, like I say, I'll get, like, a 40, because it's what, like $3 or $4, and I'll get a 40 and I'll pour it for my father and my mom. I'm trying to find when I sat and I did an offering to them last. It's been a really hot minute, but I haven't had the budget to feed my ancestors, because everybody keeps trying to steal my work and my money and my energy and my time. Like, not only am I hungry, I'm hungry, and my ancestors are hungry. That's why people that come in and waste time, it's like, you are really fucking up, man. What, Mama? And this is all stuff, if you ever wanted to book a session outside of this, Irene, we can always do that too, because, you know, it may have been further back. Yeah. Yes. Yep, they do. Because at least even if you're offering them a glass of water, they realize, yes, like, we don't have the resources. Thank you. I may have to do that myself tonight, is just give them a small offering and light a candle. You're right. It's a really long ass time ago that I did this. Like, holy shit. I know, my handsome. Where are you? As I'm going through the photo reel, I'm looking at like all of these tarot pulls that I need to publish. That's the other part. I have like so much back content to be able to publish. It's just sitting down and actually doing it. Okay, so August 1st was the last time. Although I'm going to show this because I speak in hearts, and my father sent me a heart in the beer that I poured for him. So this was an offering to my mother and my father. My father was a beer drinker, so obviously he got like I think it was Michelob Ultra. But this is me, this is in my room, in my sacred space, like sitting with my parents and having, like I say, I don't drink, but I poured drinks for them. And I also got their meal, which was a huge inside joke that they hated. And that day that I sat and had that meal with them and that drink, I had gone out to the Civil War battlefield to honor them. So I went to a Confederate battlefield, I did a little hike, and then, like I say, I came home and I poured them drinks. So August 1st, though. That's way too fucking long. Yeah. Yeah. I know that was, do you have questions about all that? Or hopefully I explained all of that and assisted, I guess. I don't know. Your grandma's also a lot closer to you than you realize and wants to talk to you. Like probably sitting over your right shoulder. And that is the other part. Our spiritual team is constantly around us, constantly waiting. We have to grant them permission or consent because they have to go by universal law too. If you don't get them consent to contact you, they can be watching, lurking all the time, but until you say, hey, grandma, I want to talk to you, they can't say shit. So once you start giving them consent and permission, they get real fucking chatty. Ask me how I know. And they leave you presents everywhere. And those presents can be signs, they can be songs, they can be scents, they can be everything. I talk about how every time I hear Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that's my brother. And God, my brother loved me so bad. And I miss him so bad. And I know he protects me. I know he watches over my kids, but he loves getting chatty. So we have to give them permission, though, to contact us. Unless it's emergent, and then they will break laws to be able to, like, hey, I need you to pay attention right now. Right meow. I love Milo's confirmation with the meow. Milo's like, listen, mama, right meow. Okay, I need to get up for a second and stretch my legs and empty the tank since I just gave a lot of energy, a lot of info, a lot of yeah. Okay. Let me go empty my tank and then we'll talk about it. Okay, my love? We'll talk about it. Because if you are in my tribe, you're sure as hell supposed to be meant to be working as a medium. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been scared as fuck, and I've been doing it alone. I haven't had a mentor. I haven't had a guide. I've done a lot of trial and error by myself. So you are in the right tribe. And I was just thinking right before you said that too, about how, like I say, your contribution went to me being able to work with the spirits. Like, literally, your contribution went for me to be able to go to the crossroads to bring this lesson back to you right now so we could have this conversation. So for anyone watching, that's how reciprocity works. Is sowing into me means that I get to bring back the lessons to sow into you and help guide you. That's why when people don't feed me, I get really pissed off, because I'm like, you want my energy, but if you can't feed me, like, I can't bring you guidance. So, all right, I have to go take care of a need. I'll be right back. And then we'll talk more about it, because yes, it's not as scary as you think. Okay? And don't let people fearmonger you. I'll be right back. Okay. You ready? So, remember how I said we don't conjure, but we do alchemize whatever is around us. So for me, like, and intuitively, you'll have to feel into it. That being said, like, I really do feel like your grandma is around you and she wants to talk to you. So, like, don't force it if it doesn't fit. Like, if it fits, it sits. So that's where people get into problems, is when they conjure. That's how you get possessed in the wrong environment and around people who don't know anything. But if you're alchemizing and having respect for it, okay, that's the other part. If you try to get cocky, because energy doesn't lie. So if you try to lie to a demon, that demon knows that you're fucking lying, and it's going to show you why that's a bad idea. Does that make sense? So we don't conjure, but we do alchemize. We work with whatever is in our environment. Number 2, it's intuitively feeling within your body if it feels right or not. Intuition is calm. unless, okay, so intuition is like a check engine light. Generally, it'll be calm. So if you're getting something from source, from spirit, from God, it's generally like a calm feeling, unless you are in a dangerous environment. And then your intuition will be screaming, like, get the fuck out. So you have to be able to calm your nervous system to say, is this fear, anxiety, darkness, or is this led by an inner knowing? That's like your inner standing. It's like you'll know it's from an outside source if it drops on you and it's not something you would normally necessarily think about, but it doesn't make you feel scared. Let me know if I went too fast or if I lost you, please. Okay. Also, your body is a huge, I know, because like you and I have gut things, right? Your body, your IBS will flare when you're in like situations that are dangerous for you, for your intuition, for your health. Your IBS will go bananas. Like if you're hanging around someone you shouldn't be hanging around, that'll be like, oh, I gotta go because my just released. So that's another way, is like your body will tell you if you're in a dangerous environment. Your body will be like, hey, we gotta go to the bathroom. So notice when your body, when you're around certain people and your IBS flares, be like, okay, intuitively, because once you start pulling yourself out of those environments, your gut will calm down a lot more. Not necessarily like all the way, but it will calm down a lot more. And also how I say, you have to give things permission. They can't violate your free will. So like if you, and sometimes, I'm going to say this, sometimes like Holy Spirit will allow you to become possessed. Bear with me for a moment. I know this is scary as fuck, but let's talk about it. It will let you become possessed because it's like fighting fire with fire. So if you are in a demon-filled environment, it'll let you like embody and take that on so that you can protect yourself. You know, when sometimes you're like, I don't know what came over me. That's because something jumped into you, but it needed to jump into you to be able to protect you to get out of it. So sometimes you can make those agreements like, hey, I need your assistance. Please help me. And I'll talk about that in a moment. The other part of it is low energy. Think about like drinking. And we can, so real world is also spiritual, but like think about drinking. You have the power to say, I do not want to drink, and be overtaken by that spirit. Right? So it's having that, we are given free will for that exact reason. So it's abstaining or saying like, hey, this environment, this thing makes me feel sick. I'm not going to participate with it. And then when you're ready, I'll give you an even bigger nugget. And this is what's going to probably help the most. Okay? Like wave, or let me know if I've gone too fast. Give me a thumbs up to let me know you're ready for the next spot, whatever it is. Because I know I've dropped a lot. That was a weird thing with your eye there, my. Okay. I'm going to just drop the next bit. Our voice carries power. So when you have like ideas or things that you don't want to participate in, you declare, There's a few ways, but I'll give you the major one. Like, if you have a thought pattern that is bothering you and you're like, this is not my thought pattern, or I don't want to perpetuate it, or if there's energy that's bothering you, you say, I am sovereign. You have no right to be here. So, like, at points when I've had negative energy around me that wants to cause problems, then I declare loudly, I am sovereign. Yep, so this is what you say right here, baby. When you have those obsessive thoughts, until you break that pattern, I am sovereign. You have no right to be here. So I want you to actually just take a minute and say that to your obsessive thoughts. I know I'm going to spell it wrong, but okay. So just take a minute and say that over and over until you feel it release up off of you. I want you to let me know. I want you to try it and then tell me how you feel. Say it out loud, even if it's quietly, because it feels weird when you first say it, and then you'll keep saying it, and you'll be like, oh, where did that go? You cast it out, baby. What are you watching, Miss Alcatraz? Oh, it's the squirrels out there. She's waving her tail at you. Saying I am sovereign, you have no right to be here, that's instant, baby. So please, 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 please try it. Tell me. And then I'll give you the next one. Okay. Even just say it quietly in your head repeatedly until a pattern pops out. Like what? Do you have kids that you're worried about? Like, I know that's intrusive and I'm not meaning to be, but like, do you have kids that you're worried about something with them right now? Or something to do with children? You can say that to people too. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is that something you're worried about right now, especially with your health concerns? Like I feel like kids, like I really do feel like there's babies that want to come, but you have to break through those patterns. So when you're like worried about your health stuff, you have to, I am sovereign. You have no right to be here. PCOS, I am sovereign. You have no right to be within my body. Start casting that shit out, and then start, like, you can breathe and imagine like you're busting that PCOS up out of your body. I am sovereign. You have no right to have any hold on my body. I am sovereign. You have no right to create an edict on my reproductive health. I know that all sounds woo-woo, yet woo-woo works, baby. So I really do feel like, I'm not mean. Like, it feels like grandma really wants to help you. She does. And maybe that doesn't jive or sit at all. But, like, if I were to get the feeling, it's like grandma wants to help you. Grandma wants those babies. You gotta bust through it. It really is like those obsessive. Yeah. Okay. We can work on addiction. So I've been alcohol sober for almost 2 years, and I've suffered with that addiction for 28 years, and I gave it up. And weed, I was an adult stoner, although weed is medicine. So it may not necessarily be like you have to stop. It may be you have to take a break and a hiatus. And in the last year, I've gone weed sober twice. So, like cold fucking turkey weed sober. So I work on that. I help with that. When you're ready, you will literally just stop. I promise. Like, oh my gosh. The last time I went sober, I had like a full fucking ounce in my house and was weed sober for 7 weeks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was enough for me to be able to do what I needed to do. It was enough for my soul. So when you're ready, that's shit I work through. Okay? I can help you with. Yeah, no, you know what? Like I say, I fucking love to smoke. Love it. Except for, I'm also proof that you can have it in the house and not smoke it. Like I say, alcohol, 28 years. I have alcohol in the house that I've had in the house for over a year. Don't drink it. So, yeah. Weed is medicine. Okay? Don't let anybody shame you for that. But we can sober up to get healthy, though. Okay? That's stuff I all work through. That's stuff that, it's hard as hell, but it can be done. I'm proof of it. When people give me the excuse, like, about drinking, I know how hard it is to quit drinking. And I think alcohol is, it's the second most addictive drug, and it's has horrible consequences when you sober up. I've done it. And my family normalized drinking. My dad was a daily drinker, drank up until like the very end of his life. Okay, so here's what I'll say about weed. Like, there are there are studies proving that weed is medicinal and helps with anxiety, PTSD, a lot of shit. So, for me personally, I was on a lot of medicines before I went through all of this. And then it got to the only point that the only medicine I was on was weed. And I wasn't on, I was a late stoner. Like I say, I didn't start smoking until 2020. So, weed got me off of my antidepressants. Weed helped me get over my PTSD. Weed helped me, like I say, beat my alcohol addiction. And I've also stepped away from it too. So, don't beat yourself up for weed being your go-to. Utilize it really as medicine. And also know when you need to let it be for a little bit, okay? So, I'm not here to shame you about it. I am here to be like, hey, I can help you with that. Like, it's hard as hell. And, days, here is this part of it. I was led to stop drinking, and I have faced my hardest days since I chose sobriety, and yet I am so happy that I was brave enough to say, you know what, I don't need it today, and to keep doing that. And even, it got to the point where even on my happy days, because, it used to be like, oh, I only want to drink when I'm sad. Well, even on my hardest days, I don't want to drink. And even on my good days, even when I'm happy, I don't want to drink. Like, I thought about it with my ex-boyfriend. Like, we would go out to lunch, and I was like, God, I'd love a mimosa. But then I'm like, I would rather drink a soda than a mimosa and be able to enjoy my company and not worry about feeling like shit, not acting out of control, not any of that. So, yeah. Baby girl, though, I really do feel like there is a baby that wants to come to you, and grandma wants to help you with that. So if you're ready to start doing that kind of stuff, it's time. And if your partner is saying that yes, he wants to have children, maybe that's how you guys strengthen your relationship, is by being able to overcome some of that stuff. I feel grandma, like I say, over your right shoulder being like, let's go, girl. And maybe that's not, but that's just the feeling as we've gone through this chat today. It's like, that's what I feel. Anyway, so saying I am a sovereign being. And if you are in because I talk about this all the time, and like I say, I live on haunted plantation land. It's also native land, so I have a lot of native energy here, like a lot of angry, restless spirits. So when they're bothering me, so like if you're in an environment where negative energy is bothering you, and it's aggressive as fuck, but here's how you get rid of it, right? Say, you are not fucking welcome, get out, and imagine it going out the back door, okay? Or the door, or the window, but you command it out. Like if there's negative energy that's not jiving, anything that's not for the highest good, get out. So you know how we talked about medium, if you were to be a medium, you have to be willing to cast them out. And that's partially like, I am a sovereign being, you have no right to be here, you have no right over my body. Like that's how you cast obsessive thoughts out, because that's what demons really are. It's like obsessive thoughts. And then it creates us doing obsessive patterns or bad patterns. So it's, I'm sovereign. You have no right to dictate me. You had your chance. You don't have a physical body. You have nothing to truly cling to. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Did I give you too much? Are you like, ah, girl? Closing this cycle. We're closing these cycles. We're closing the pain. We're closing the hardships, okay? And romance. Okay, so be willing to close out those hard chapters. Like, choose your heart. Do you want this or do you want this? Because they're both hard, but you have to choose which one's worth it. Choose your heart. Let's see. I guarantee, my friend, when you start, your relationship's going to be strengthened as you start showing up true, and as you start tapping into your intuition. Because we have to, this is always it. Like, we have to cast out that Jezebel spirit. We have to cast out anything that is not for our highest good. Do you have, I know this is another, do you have curly hair? Because I feel like, whatever I'm sensing, and maybe it's not, but like I feel like two little girls with curly hair just like fucking giggling. Like, you know when little kids, like, they just laugh over like the nonsensical shit? I feel like two little girls just like giggling, like just busting up. Whew. Okay. Oh, divine masculine. That may be Hey, handsome. You gonna come help? Thank you. Okay, come on. Come on. I know. I don't think it's just because I'm hearing the little girls up the way. Like, it's like tapping. Like, I feel it tapping, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's pretty overpowering, though. Like two curly-haired girls just giggling and laughing. Just ha ha ha. Okay. Alright, let's see what other cards we need to pull. I know I gave like a lot of information. That was some pretty heavy shit. I know it'll help. It's just, yeah. Ooh. Let me drink some water really quick. Let me breathe, rest, drink water, meditate. All the guidance that I give myself when I give it to my clients. Breathe, rest, drink water, meditate. Also, okay, as we start calming down our nervous system, this is part of that. When we get triggered, we actually do have to stop for a minute and say, is this trigger valid? Am I in danger? Or is this a childhood pattern that I need to let go of? So that's where breathe, rest, drink water, meditate, because as we progress, we get triggered, but it's like, okay, is this trigger actually valid, or is this old patterning that my body is remembering? Is it reticular cellular memory that I'm holding on to, and is it mine? Because it may not be yours. It may be an ancestor's that before, when they were put in this situation, it was danger, and now it's not. So retraining your nervous system. Did I lose you with all that, Irenia? You're just busy working. That too. I am so. Hi, Queen. All right. Thank you for coming over and being a walking crystal and helping me out here, sir. Greatly appreciated. Girl, you can't actually get out there to get that. I know you want to. My little apex predator. Okay. we'll let Abel be a card reader for a minute. Although he's not real good at being a card reader because he tries to like scratch me every card I get. Faith, healing, meditation, and praying. Faith, healing, meditation, and praying. It's almost like I was talking about. Breathe, rest, drink your water, meditate. Love the confirmations. Almost like I know what I'm talking about. True colors come out when you are willing to meditate, have faith, pray, heal. Okay. Sit with your ancestors. And divine masculine. Okay. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. Irene, I'm so glad you were in today. Like I say, after our session the other day, a lot happened, and I'm glad that we got to touch base on that because there was so much. And that makes me happy. Especially because I got to bring the lesson of how that sewing into my ministry helped bring lessons back. Alright, let's see what other cards we need. See if we get anybody else in today to play. I have the Eminem song in my head, the Venom, right now. I don't know why. Just freaking Eminem being a Libra. Okay. Alright. Careful, my friend. Alright. Ghosted, off and on, hot and cold, divine masculine, rejected. I know where that storyline goes. For me personally. Even if nobody else is listening. Too late. Rejected. Divine masculine. That's one of the things a lot of men are learning around me is that if you hesitate with me or you treat me wrong, like, I'm gone. Really fast. They always learn that lesson too late. And I'm like, bro, I warned you. You move funny, I move out your way real fucking fast. Which maybe that's why the Venom suited Eminem is playing right now for me. Mentally. Okay. I'm gonna have to look up Eshu. So, fun fact, because, okay, so for my zodiac sign, Aries is like my counterpart, and I didn't know why, and that's because I learned that Libra is ruled by Eris, which is Aries' twin sister. So I can never figure out why, like, Aries, like, I have so much to learn from and gain from, and it's because Eris, which is one of my ruling, is the counterpart to Aries. So like for Libras, we have a lot to learn from Aries and vice versa, and like I have a lot of heavy placements in Aries, and then my kiddo one of my kiddos is an Aries, so it's learning from each other. I'm gonna have to look up Eshu though. Let me write that down, or let me look that up really quick. Oh, Ireneo, you missed a fun conversation the other day on it was Wednesday evening, and we were talking about starseeds, we were talking about hybrids, we were talking about aliens, we were talking about all kinds of shit, because on my computer search is Roswell, and I was talking about the alliances made with the aliens. So it's been a very odd discussion week, but also like a lot of spectacular okay, so also known as Legba, which I love because I was talking about him earlier. Yes. Okay. So I haven't quite probably hit the tier for Eshu yet, but I did hit the tier with Papa Legba about a year ago. And Anubis, I've been around Anubis for the last few years, like at least the last 2. So I love that you bring that up, and I love that I've had exposure. Like I say, I've worked with Papa Legba, not because I conjured him, but because it was like sent to me by people that were sending him to me. So I follow like a shaman path. So it's not necessarily, like I say, like I don't have any one patron entity, deity, spirit that I follow. It literally is like whatever is called for, that's what gets called in to work with at that moment. And hopefully that makes sense how I explained it, because I get a lot of people where they're like, that's a closed practice, or that's, they gatekeep, and I'm like, I work with whatever's needs to be worked with in that moment. So I happen to follow kind of more of like a shaman path, I guess, because I've been called to do root work and hoodoo and stuff like that, and been called because that's what had been perpetuated on me at the time. Just like when indigenous magic is thrown at me, I'm called to work with like indigenous like indigenous, like Native American spirits, if that makes sense. So, and that's why if you've ever caught me, and maybe you haven't, but I've done it before on live, drumming, I'll drum, and that's because I have, and when my sister-in-law, let's talk about that, because my sister-in-law has sent me native spirits, but then she's gotten really mad when I've been drumming, or I've talked about like wanting to go to powwows, not necessarily for me, like I actually want to go to a powwow for my children, because my children have indigenous roots, and I'm like, I'm not trying to buffalo in on anyone's practice. It's like trying to widen my horizons and provide safe avenues for my children. And when we moved here, I had actually made contact with one of the chief, she's known as Chief Cherokee, and I was trying to get that side figured out for my kids. Yeah, so I play drums. I do a little bit of everything, but I do have, and I took that drum with me to the crossroads. I birthed a drum, so I'm also, like, here where I'm at. I'm a birth doula, too, like, for native, like, for drums. Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything. And when I was back there today, I've never actually played it, but I saw it and I almost brought it out. I have, like, a hand pan drum, and I almost brought that out. And I was like, maybe it's a good day to play with that today. I'm all about exploring and experimenting. It's probably another great reason why you're in my tribe and on my vibe, because I'm not afraid to try anything. At least twice. Unless it's really bad the first time. And then, like, no. Here's the other. This is what I love. And you can probably speak to this. Like, people try to bypass Papa Legba or Eshu, not realizing that in order to dabble in the spiritual realm, you have to get permission and guidance and guardianship from them. Maybe I'm not using the right words, but people try to go plain in root work and voodoo and hoodoo, and I'm like, if you did not work with Papa Legba, you're not getting into the spiritual realm, especially not the way you think you are. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I love, I'm going to say Illuminare. I love that. Okay. Okay. I love all the different paths we've hit today. And if you're in later, I'm sure you'll catch me again, because I'll be back in later to, maybe. I may end up taking and resting for a little bit. I've got some self-care to take care of. I'll talk about this. So we can give birth to spiritual babies. And I've had experiences in the last few years with spiritual pregnancies and even spiritual miscarriages and spiritual labors. So while it's been a really hard week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I could sense that I was going into spiritual labor, and some of that happened today. I had some spiritual laboring today, so I may end up spending some of today just resting. And I don't know if any of that makes sense, and hopefully it does, but I intend on being back later as well. So, after some rest, after some self-care, I'm going to cope. Yes. Thank you. That's what people don't fucking realize. Like, you cannot get to the crossroads without acknowledging Legba. In whatever practice you practice. Because it doesn't matter if you're, like, say if you're into paganism, you would contact the deity that's on the same level as Legba and the trickster to the crossroads. Like, people do that all the time. Like I say, they just want to dabble and they want to play, but there are ranks, there are paths you can't bypass the gatekeeper. And I actually do love that you're in with me, because I am crossroads. I'm very much a crossroads. I very much play in the shadows, and it very much is making sure that we patronage to the crossroad deities. So it is not by accident that you and I have at least connected for part of it, because yes. I don't know how else to say or how else to. Yes. I love it. I love the synchronicities. I love the knowledge that we get to share with each other and with the collective. These are secrets that have been kept from us, because without them, they know that we are left unprotected. As the divine feminine, we need to be willing to explore and find information. This is what bothers me about religion, is it's like they want you never to seek higher knowledge. Well, that's so that they can keep putting you in harm's way or controlling you. Like, when religion, I know. Yeah. So I am a force to be reckoned with. I am a force of nature as well. Sometimes I'm known as Hurricane Lara. And I don't care. I don't even care anymore, because it's like we really truly have to we have to start being our magical selves so that we can unlock and we can help each other. So I know people, I walk into places and people's whole life turns around, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But I am a force of nature. I can't keep denying that. I can't keep trying to closet that. I'm authentically me. So, Reckless love and sex, we have to be more careful of that. Like, that's, sex is sacred energy exchange and mirroring. Yes. Oh man, the loneliness man epidemic is going to become real big. I will say, with this political, where, somebody had said your body, my choice, they're about to realize that when we withhold our labor, they're going to be really lonely and have to start treating us right. So, women, you want to start taking your life back? Withhold your loving. Men, you want women to want to touch your peen? You have to actually treat us right. You can't be forcing, you can't be coercive, you can't be aggressive. I have so many boys whining like, women don't want to be with me. Well, that's because you're not safe. That's because you don't treat women like people. You treat them like objects. Like, a woman isn't gonna want to touch your peen if you use her recklessly. I know that was a weird little side rant, but round and round cycles, triggers, lessons. That's what we are in right now. That's why we are here to help. That's why I do what I do, so that I'm trying to help everybody break their cycles and push past the fear. Okay. Irene, I'm going to pee. Give me 2 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to do something for a minute. Because we're going to kind of do like a little mental exercise, okay? I know it's going to be scary, but it's not meant to be. Okay. I will be in as long as I can be. And then, like I say, I'll come back in later. But I do need to rest. I actually need to do some self-care. I was hoping to kind of generate some money so I could get some food today. Some good food. Because I need some rest and repair after I really did like labor this morning. So I know like my spiritual baby is here. I need to rest and recuperate, because I say that bitch, but like that bitch is going to be crying tomorrow. So I need to rest, recuperate, and feed myself and nourish today, because I know tomorrow I'm going to hit that ground running. That's the funny thing when you have a baby, because I've been through it a time or 12. Like the first day, your baby's so quiet, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll be lucky. Like, I'm gonna have an easy baby. No, after that first 24 hours, because it's like, after that first 24 hours, like, your life really begins. I'll be right back. So I know, like I say, I labored today. I have this beautiful baby that she's resting, she's chilling, and tomorrow she's gonna be on full volume. And I love it, but I need to rest today. That is the hard part. As new moms, we forget, like, you rest when your baby rests. You rest when you can. And hopefully all of that makes sense and doesn't feel insensitive. That's just, I knew this week. Like I say, I knew this week. And it's funny because people that try to fuck with me, and I'm like, you can't compete where you don't compare. I've had a lot of people trying to steal like my spiritual babies, my spiritual ideas, and I'm like, these are people who have never gone through labor. Yeah. Well, so tomorrow, so that's why I really truly need to be resting and recuperating and nourishing today. Again, that was why I was trying to hop in and generate some flow today, so I could nourish my body, because tomorrow is going to be hit the ground running. That spiritual baby is going to kick tomorrow. All right, give me a minute. I'll be right back. I'll put you on silent so you don't have to hear Badger snoring for a minute or two. I'll be right back. Okay, come here. A minute. I have some thoughts to write down because we're going to talk about it. And then I do want to give you an exercise before I go on like a side rant. Because some funny things happened with socials. And while I went back to empty the tank, I thought about these funny things on socials. And I'm gonna, yeah. One of these things I kind of talked about teeny bit earlier, but I'm gonna get back to it. And then I need to check one other thing before we get in there. And then, like I said, I'm going to give you an exercise, and then I'll get into side rants for a second, because there's been some hella gaslighting going on, but then it's funny how universe will show you what you need to see in here. I'm glad that was exactly the page I need to go to. Okay. Come. Log in, my love. Okay. I see. Okay. Irenia, when you're ready, if you want to give me a thumbs up, and I'm going to give you an exercise. Okay? Okay. So, and if you want, I can get the book out and I can read on PCOS today. I know the other day we talked about IBS, but I can read on PCOS today. If you want, we can do a thumbs up on that. Addiction is mental. Yes, it's physical, but it's mental. So once you can break through the mental, you can override the physical. Okay, especially with green, because green is natural. So yes, it's gonna suck, but mentally getting over it. And I know, my friend, you have been through a lot of really hard shit. So Mordecai, you might energetically be kicked out, sir. So don't play with me. So Irenia, being mental, it's take and journal. I didn't say you have to leave, but if it's gonna be detrimental to both of us, then yes, leave. So Irenia, since it's mental, take and journal for 5 minutes. What is the worst thing if you give up that addiction? Like spiral, 5 minutes. Just let it be a 5-minute timer. Set a 5-minute timer and journal. And write down, just trauma dump, 5 minutes. What is the worst thing that happens when you give up that addiction? Okay? And once you've everywhere, take 5 minutes and write the best thing that can happen. You want to dump out the old first, and then replace it with what is the best thing that can happen if I'm willing to push through this mental trap of addiction. And then when the obsessive thoughts come in, I am a sovereign being. You have no right to be here. I love to set a timer. Like I say, I love to set a timer for 5 minutes, put on a song, and just let it diarrhea it all over paper. Because once you release it, you release it. Makes sense? I know it's so hard, but girl, I know you are so strong. Does that sound like something that would be a benefit or that you could utilize? I love to, because I'm an overthinker. I overthink the shit out of everything. So if I can trauma dump for 5 minutes, like I say, I just put on a really good song and just start writing. Set a timer for 5 minutes and just write until that timer goes off. And you'll find you release so much. You're just like, oh, what was I so worried about? Okay. And then I want you to come back and tell me how that exercise goes when you can do it. Just, I promise, like, even if you do it on your lunch break, if you haven't taken lunch yet, take headphones, put them in for 5 minutes, just write all your little heart can desire, and then you can throw it in the shredder, you can burn it, you can do whatever, but just put in music, set a timer for 5 minutes, and just write everything about why that addiction's holding you, or why you feel like you can't get over it, because it literally, like, it all starts internal and then it manifests external. So it's changing that process internally and then manifesting it externally, because once you let go of it, like, okay, like I say, I sat in alcohol addiction for so long, and yes, it's really hard when you first give it up, but then you look at it and you're like, what did I lose by giving up that addiction? Like, when I stopped drinking, I'm like, I stopped losing friends that wanted me to just pay for all their shit. I lost that time that I was spending driving to the liquor store. I lost that time. I lost all the people at the bar. But yet, you know, the irony is, again, all they wanted was to use me. It was birds of a feather stick together. It was like all the miserable people wanted me to drink so that I could keep funding their bad lifestyle choices. Yeah, it's lonely at first, but I did not lose anything. I gained so much peace of mind. I gained a healthier body. I gained clarity by giving up drinking. And yeah, it's lonely as hell. Except for, I don't want to be around people that all they want to use me for is money. I don't want to be around people that all they want to use me for is misery. I don't want to be around people that all they want to do is sit around. So, I mean, you lose things at first, but then you gain so much more. So it's being brave enough to say, you know what, this is something I don't need anymore in my life. I'm going to grab the book and I will read on PCOS. Oh, my dog. Stinky. And then I'm going to talk about, like I say, a little side rant that I went on. And, oh my gosh. Okay, so I have this little crush on one of the guys on TikTok who's a vampire. And he just posted a video with the song Dead Men Don't Rape. And I'm like, oh gosh, if I didn't love you so much before, I love you so much more now. Like, I know that's so, like, off topic, but the vampires get it. And I'm gonna grab I grabbed the throat chakra bowl while I was back there. I guess that was perfect planning on my part, putting the book on emotions with the whole chakra set of sound bowls, because, you know, when I go to grab my book for healing for emotions with my clients, I can grab a sound bowl too. Sometimes I love my ingenious way of setting myself up for success. Unwittingly, but doing it anyway. Okay, so my spirit team, myself, we got jokes. Yes. Okay. Maybe it's only me that thinks I'm funny. And that's the funny thing. When people, like, think of a really funny joke and then they laugh so hard and you're like, that wasn't really that funny. But I do love how I set myself up in small ways to succeed without ever realizing it. Okay, so throat chakra. How are we opening our throat chakra to communicate what we need, want, love, and desire? Air. Throat chakra is very much air. It's how are we communicating our desires. We are in the age of Aquarius, which is an air sign. Aquarius is for the greatest good of all of humanity. They're also known as the water bearers. So Aries, Aquarius, think of how they contain water and help shape it. Think of like the sky, when it holds too much water, it rains. So how do we use that cleansing energy of water and air together? All right. Do another ring. I'm pondering that interaction that just happened a minute ago with the other viewer, and I tried to be as kind as possible, as gracious as possible. And I have my reasons for doing what I do. And I may have hurt that person's feelings, but I don't care. They crossed my boundaries and violated my free will on multiple occasions. So I had to open my throat chakra to say you're not welcome. That was a nice way of me saying you're not welcome. When they get more aggressive, I have to be more aggressive. And being that I'm a Queen of Swords, my words hurt. My words heal and my words hurt. I tell them nicely first, though. And then when they don't listen, I become more forceful with it. My sound bowls bring all the boys to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. That is the hard part. When people want me to fit in a box, I'm like, I am beautifully, quirky, authentic. I couldn't mask or fit in a box if I tried anymore. It's too painful. And you shouldn't either. Okay. Well, I'm going to read... If you're ready, I'm going to read on PCOS to help give any insight into those emotions, especially for any journaling that you may have later, because I have a feeling there's a link to that. Apparently me playing the sound bowl has Badger needing to drink water to help release his trapped emotions too. You need more water, buddy. I love this book, especially coming from the medical field. Like, that is the other part of it, is that I have such a deep love and basis in the medical field that when I got into healing, integrative healing, it literally is right up my alley. I am a huge nerd, if you can't tell. I love radiation. I love talking about radiation all day long and all that jazz. Like, I'm an academic. Okay, polycystic ovary disease. Okay. Abel. Emotions. You feel blocked when connecting to your feminine side. It is one thing to project it, but it's an entirely different scenario to feel it and be connected. I'm reading it right now, baby. Reading it right now. You ready? I'm going to start over if you want. I just pulled it out. Just about to read it. Okay. You feel blocked when connecting to your feminine side. It is one thing to show and project it, but it's an entirely different scenario to feel it and be connected to it. You have had periods of your life when you have to be more masculine. You were often relied on to cope with very stressful circumstances. You may have seen your mother become helpless in her life due to too many expectations and responsibilities. This may be the result of challenging relationship issues, jealousy toward a child, or not being able to cope with her life. You had to remain strong and be a shoulder to cry on. You may be confused as to what your actual role in the family should be. So, Irenia, we're going to timestamp, like, 2:16 is where I'm going to timestamp you and say that this is, if you need to come back and review, that's where we start with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay? Okay. So, you had to remain strong and be a shoulder to cry on. You may be confused as to what your actual role in the family should be. Looking back, you realize you've been playing the role of victim due to circumstances which required you to step into certain roles into which you felt trapped. You have held a high level of responsibility from a very young age. You often feel challenged by your sexuality. It feels safer to be more masculine, so that side is more noticeable. You don't feel beautiful and you do not enjoy your natural beauty. You may have witnessed women or female authorities being demeaned or belittled, and so made an association with femininity and disrespect. If this doesn't hit for me, I don't know what it does. Like, as well. So I love that we share that synchronicity there. Okay? Men were valued more, therefore you chose to be more masculine. In order to do so, you had to work on building a tough exterior for protection. You may feel that everything has to be hard and challenging. If it's too easy, you will fail. Okay, so key points. These are like emotions to look at and address. So the first part is like saying like, hey, this is kind of where we're at, and these are things to look at, to address and unpack. And I don't think we're on Discord together yet. If we are, just drop and say hello, and I can drop my Discord again, but I can actually take a picture of it and send it to you so that you can think of it. Yeah. Yep. I totally fucking get that. More than you'll ever know. So there's some stuff to sit there with that, okay? We're gonna talk about the emotions, because it's a pretty extensive list, but we'll talk about it. I'll read it for you. And then, like I say, if you want to add me on Discord, or if I don't know if I'm on Discord with you, but if I am, just drop me a hi and I will send you a picture of these pages, okay? Because it's a lot, but I'm going to read it out for you, okay? So these are key points to address, okay? Explore ancestral trauma related to wives being abandoned or left by their parents. This may have caused you to take on more traditionally masculine roles, jobs, and responsibilities. Having to be strong as a man for survival. Women being raised in harsh conditions and treated like men. There may have been conflict between your parents about the desire for a boy or a girl during conception stages. Explore further possibilities. What made you take on the role of sole supporter or comforter for others during childhood? How did this make you feel? Explore further possibilities. Do you enjoy being a female? If not, why? What happened to make you feel this way? Did you witness men treating women in a degrading way? This may have made you decide that it is safer to be more masculine than feminine. Explore this in the ancestral line. Which responsibility made you feel like you were losing control? Why did you have this responsibility? Was it a reasonable responsibility? How did it make you feel to be in that position? There is a history of sexual abuse in the ancestral line. This type of trauma may have encouraged females to develop qualities that are more masculine in order to keep themselves safe from harm. Cool. Do you want me to keep reading this, or do you want me to just send it to you on Discord? Because I know it's a lot that I'm giving you, but hopefully reading it out loud, and then when you read it, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Resentment and anger toward men, along with a deep need to protect themselves. This is related to trauma in the ancestral line. Built up anger, high blood pressure, resentment, and vengeance, and your mother had an impact on you in utero. Explore whether this had an impact on your hormonal development. You feel challenged by your sexuality. Why? What would happen if you expressed it? Some people feel very angry when this question is raised. It stems from being suppressed, taken advantage of, or laughed at and abused by men. Feel belittled and degraded for being a female. Why? What happened that made you feel this way? Explore those possibilities. What is the benefit of being in control of everything, along with feeling responsible for everyone? Explore when this pattern started. What must change in your life in order for you to embrace your femininity? Explore any resentment towards your mother. You may feel that she failed in her role and you had to step in. You find it challenging to connect to men. What happened in the past that made you feel this way? Explore your relationship with your father or influential male figure. Love equals abuse, which so many of us little girls, that's what we learn. Love equals abuse and sex equals love. Okay? Your need for love may have been met by abuse, hostility, or jealousy and rejection. You feel that everything had to be hard and challenging, otherwise you will fail if it's too easy. You don't know how to be happy without always being in the middle of a challenge. This is a familiar pattern. You know how to survive in challenging circumstances. Explore the womb stages. Did your mother smoke, or was she with a partner that smoked? How did this affect the fetal developmental stages, especially the fetal hormones? Did she consume alcohol or use medication while she was pregnant? Did she have thyroid issues while she was pregnant? Explore how this may have affected you. So, that was on PCOS. And like I say, I can send you the pictures of those. And I would love for you to be able to sit with that. And if there's stuff that you want to work through, we can work through that as well. I'm going to... And like I say, I time stamped it so you could see 216, give or take, was about where we started on PCOS reading. Also, I did a little bit of sound bowl right before that. Cool. Cool. All right, girl, I got you on there. So I will send you the pages on that in a little bit. I'm going to side rant for just a moment. So a few side rants, mind you. Going to social media, because when I was back there, I was checking social media while I was emptying my tank. I checked socials. And one of the guys I absolutely adore posted something about, yes. Okay. So it's reticular cellular memory. It's literally encoded in our DNA. And when we start releasing that trauma within our body, we start freeing ourselves from those curses. So you want healthy pregnancies, we start addressing the emotions, the really hard ones, the ones that scare you. You have to heal it to feel it, my love. That's why I pull out the book. That's why, having come from the medical field, I love being able to address the emotional implications with the actual physical, what is going on. Our dis-ease is emotion based. And it's not normally from us. It's from our mom. It's from our ancestors. It's from our grandmas. So as we heal it, we feel it. As we feel it, we heal it. Okay? Okay, so some things that just have tickled me. First off, I have people that are gaslighting me. Like, somebody was gaslighting me about gang stalking. And I was talking about how gang stalking is actually spiritual and it's demonic. And then she wanted to say, like, you're far reaching. I was like, you've obviously never experienced gang stalking and how demonic it is if you're gaslighting me. If you want, I can read on hydrocephalus. The other part, I had somebody who, he was a Freemason, and I have a lot to speak on Freemasons, and I know why Freemasons are fucked up the way that they are, and we can talk about that. And I've already kind of talked about it a little bit today, but there's a Freemason on TikTok, and he said something about, he was trying to discredit people who are ordained. And he's like, oh, it's just $40 to become ordained. You know what, though? Becoming ordained actually does put an anointing on your head, and you do have a higher calling, and you do work for God, and all that entails, which is really hard to do. And, well, I actually got ordained to perform a ceremony for a Freemason. It wasn't him, it was his wife. Like, I absolutely adored his wife. We were coworkers, and it was an honor to officiate her wedding. But I got it so I could officiate their wedding, and I didn't realize by paying $40 to become an ordained minister, I actually did get an anointing and a work for God. So this guy over here being like, oh, being ordained doesn't mean shit. I'm like, that's because you don't see the value in paying the money for it. And yeah, it's not very much, and everybody can do it. People don't. And it really isn't just a piece of paper. I was thinking about that yesterday when I was in the shower. I was like, it really isn't just a piece of paper. Like, I literally do work for God. I don't just pull tarot cards. I actually, do work for God. I get prophetic messages, and I do have an anointing on my head. So, homeboy being salty and being like, it's just a piece of paper and it's $40, anybody can do it. I'm like, then why don't you do it? Why don't you learn what it actually is to be anointed? Yeah, it's just a piece of paper and it's $40, but it does come with some interesting side effects. There was something else I wanted to talk about there, and then I'll read on hydrocephalus. Thank you for allowing me to go on that little rant. Oh, here was the other part. And I've talked about it before. My TikTok has been shadow banned, and I'm being silenced and suppressed, and it's very fucking obvious. And it isn't about the money, but he was trying to say, oh, being an ordained minister isn't that big a deal. I'm like, then why don't you do it? Why are you saying that people that have their ordained ministry, like, it's not that big a deal? Because I will tell you, I was not religious, and yeah, it was just $40, and it was just a piece of paper. Oh, I won't waste the time, but I can tell that he doesn't have, he thinks you shouldn't listen to people that are ordained because it's just $40 and a piece of paper, but I have more credibility in the kingdom of God than he does. But he wants to say blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you don't realize. Because if he wanted to actually have credibility, he could spend the money and get the piece of paper. Instead of bitching about how people that are ordained ain't shit. Because I will tell you, ordained, and it definitely did put a different stamp on my life. It definitely does make me work for God, even though at the time I didn't think it did, but it really does. It was kind of a weird thing. The other part that I wanted to say is that I know I'm being shadow banned. I know I'm being suppressed and silenced on TikTok, and it's funny how many new followers I get often, but yet my views, my likes, my participation doesn't ever go up. And today I was actually looking at some of my post performance. I'm going to show a picture of this because this actually makes me laugh like fucking hell. Because two things. People that search me out, this is the relevant data to go with this. So this made me laugh. Like, I love all the tomfool fuckery that's going on around me. I love that I can prove this shit. I love all of this shit. It's so much fun. Because they were fucking with me for a really long time. So I know I'm being shadow banned, but they'll tell you that that's not real. They'll gaslight you. They'll say that that's not anything. First off, people are searching me by my name. Second off, this was off of one of my things today. Apparently I am being searched and found through shadow ban violations. So the irony of them saying shadow ban's not a real thing and people gaslighting you, nope. And I am being shadow banned. A lot. So that's fun. That's fun and funny. People say, oh, that's not really happening. Yes, it is. Just like my ex the other day when he was trying to gaslight me and catch me up in shit. And he tried to say I lied on court documents, which the irony was he lied on court documents. I did not. But he was trying to catch me up. And then he says, like, you're not any of this. No, man, I can show you the receipts of how I've been stalked and shadow banned and harassed by people that were told to leave me the fuck alone. Anyway, okay, I'll read on hydrocephalus. I'm probably going to hop out kind of soon for a little bit because, like I say, I need to do some self-care. It's going to be a pretty big... It's going to be wild. It's already been wild this week, but it's going to be pretty wild. And then if you want to send me, I won't do it here, but if you want to send me your eye condition, and I can take pictures from the book later, not right now, but if on Discord you want to send me what the actual diagnosis is behind your eye condition, I can send you the pages on those too for you to peruse at whatever time is available. And I'll send you the pictures on the other two conditions that we talked about. And then I'll read you hydrocephalus. I only thought of that because I came across a part where it was talking about eye stuff. So I was like, I can read that for you, but not right now. I need to rest for a little bit. I've done a lot of work. I've already done a lot of work before we even got to this point in the day. I've been a very busy girl since I woke up, and I've been up for a hot minute. That's why I always laugh, because I go from the minute I wake up till the minute I go to bed. I am literally going. And I know that the devil curses when my feet hit the floor. Because I used to be able to hear my ex across the house start cussing when he heard me moving around. He would just start cussing. And I'm like, yep. Morning, sunshine. I'm a menace. And I don't really give a fuck anymore. Especially not with people who are super assholes. Okay. Let me... Oh, shit. sleepy. I need to drink some fucking water. I've been talking non-stop. That's what I do. Why are you not? What would it might be under congenital? Hold on. I'm not finding it under hydrocephalus. So let me see if I can find it a different way. Hold on. Probably under congenital or brain. Let's see. Congenital disorders. Okay. So for just I can read it under congenital disorders because I think that might be a way to start. Or let me look under birth defects. Let's see if I can find them. I'm trying to find the best way to read it, or the best rabbit hole to go down there. I'm going to drink some water really quick because I'm... Let me look up birth defect. I'm not finding it under... Let's keep going. Hold on. Oh, shit. Okay, we're getting closer. Hold on here, my love. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the best way to go about it. Unless let me see if there's an index and I can find it that way. Of course there wouldn't be an index there. Why would there be? Okay. Okay, I'm going to read it under congenital because I'm not finding it. I'm not finding it in birth defects. I'm not finding it under hydrocephalus. So I'm going to read it under congenital, because I think that that's probably more of a broad spectrum. Because, yeah. I've been looking, I even tried to go to the index. Let me think of if there's anything else. I bet you, okay, so I almost wonder if it would be under like spina bifida. Because that feels like that's also kind of... Hydrocephalus is apparently the one that doesn't want to be found today, or at least right now. Okay, congenital is where we're going to go, because I'm not finding anything spectacular to go with all of that. Like I said, I was trying to figure out which other disorder to kind of try and pair it with. So I'm going to go with congenital and see if any of this fits, okay? So emotions. There seems to be a great deal of trauma related to toxicity and poisoning in the ancestral history. This means that there is a possibility that ancestors suffered toxic poisoning to such an extent that it may have altered the biology and developmental codes of the body. This results in the new generations I tried to timestamp it there for you too. Okay. This may have altered the biology and the developmental codes of the body. This results in the new generation's biological makeup being more sensitive to certain traumas and environmental factors. The body's immune system was not strong enough to stay healthy during times of poisoning and felt under attack by its environment. This condition triggers several other symptoms. However, it's important to focus on the first symptom. There seems to be a pattern of trauma related to feeling under attack and lack of support. This could be in the form of human resources or antibodies. This information is for general information purposes only and may be challenging to work with a baby using counseling techniques. Other energy and healing techniques might be considered if the parents or the clients are willing to explore the options. There is a belief that people with congenital disorders only came to Earth to complete unfinished business. It is a belief that one is able to come to Earth to finish what they need to do and then leave in a way that is not painful. This condition is interpreted in such a way that it brings comfort to those that are grieving. This means that the real possible causes and issues are not being dealt with. The people that are directly affected by people with a congenital disorder have to honor and respect the individual's journey and support them in such a way and support them as much as possible. It is important not to lose sight of the actual cause of the condition, the reason why this condition was triggered, and why the parents came together and had certain predispositions is also relevant. Their environment in utero and conception as well merely triggered this condition that seemed to have been dormant. A previously inactive trauma has recently been triggered. A trauma from this lifetime may have activated a suppressed ancestral pattern or trauma. This may be subtle yet have big impact. The client may have been born oversensitive to certain behaviors of others. Many symptoms are caused by an inherited pattern which is later activated. It is important to understand that this does not mean it is anyone's fault within the family that this condition was triggered. Okay. I know that was harder for me to get through because part of it isn't super specific to hydrocephalus, but it is specific to having like congenital birth defects, meaning that like there were certain toxins, poisons introduced to your ancestors that affected your sister's development. Hopefully that makes sense, or you can find something in that. And like I say, I'll send that section to you. It's healing through our generational trauma shit, my love. Which, again, when we sit down, we write like, is this pattern helping me, or can I let it go? Okay. All right. Hopefully that brings clarity and enlightenment. Any of this. I'm trying to think of... My phone's about to die. It's also how I know it's time to take a break, because I'm about to... I've been sitting so long, my phone's about to die. Which is beautiful, but that also means it's time for a rest and reset for us. Alright, my friends. I'm gonna hop out for a little bit. I am Lara Jo, SirenSong lover. Should you be able to sow into my ministry, it is greatly appreciated. That can be done through Cash App, SirenSong lover. Siren, capital S, Song, capital S, lover, capital L. I need to feed this wild beast because she is about to get spicy. I need to feed this wild beast because she is about to get spicy. Should you wish to book a service, that can be done through SirenSonglover.in. Should you wish to touch base with me on Discord, that can be done through SirenSong Lover. If you can't tell, I'm all about SirenSong Lover. I'll drop those details down below. Discord. Book a service. I'll be back. Like I say, I've got to recharge and just kind of reset a little bit. So I'm going to try and do some love stuff on me. I told you how I kind of did, I was laboring earlier, like literally physically laboring and spiritually laboring, because I know that there's a spirit baby that's been waiting to be born. So I need to go rest and reset, and I'll be back later. But, yeah, I definitely have enjoyed our time, and I always find it incredibly healing, transformative. It's lovely to be able to connect with someone that is on the same vibe, and the information that I've accumulated, I love that I am able to help. Like, I've done a lot of fucking work. I've acquired a lot of resources, knowledge, time, energy to be able to help guide and step into stuff. And, you know, when you had talked about medium earlier, if you can't tell, like, that is something I tap into. That is something I'm knowledgeable about. And to be able to discuss it and help guide is a great... I love it. Because we need mediums. And we need people tapping into their stuff. And we need, you know, and that's something I love. I love teaching. I love educating. I just love. So yeah, I don't know if any of that makes sense. I also love how, I know I keep saying love, but that is the point. I love how you had sewn into the ministry the other day, and I got to bring back knowledge based on being able to have the funding, because I, like, when I went on that field trip, because I had to drive a bit, unfortunately I didn't have gas money after the fact, but I was able to go do that field trip and then bring back information on what I had learned, and it was information that helped you. So the irony of the reciprocity circle, how it's like you sewed into me and then I turned around and sewed into you. And that is the beauty of what I do and why I do it. And I can't wait till it starts happening on a much larger scale. So energy exchange is real. Currency is real. And that was a beautiful occurrence of how you had sewn into me and fed my ancestors and myself, and I got to sew back into you, and I love that. So, yeah. Yes. Anyway. All right, my love. I will see you later. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for finding value. I hope you write, at least between now and the time I next see you, I hope you at least do a 5-minute trauma dump right. And let it be about our friend Mary Jane. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.